we need to make clear that actions against Taiwan will be responded to in a serious way by the United States.
Yes, well, amen to that.
The White House this morning says they anticipated this response, but is warning China not to escalate things further.
民意不可为，玩火必自焚。
She trying to whip up a nationalist fervor.
Our delegation came here to send an unequivocal message. America stands with Taiwan.
Your basic average Chinese person and family are unhappy.
Having a bogeyman like the United States that isn't threatening the Chinese Communist Party it isn't threatening the Chinese people in any material way.
如果美方一意孤行，中方必将采取坚决有力的措施，维护中方的主权安全利益。
Well, if that doesn't boil the blood, I don't know what does. Everyone, we got a great panel here tonight. We have Fernando from Fermube. We also have AJ from PTE and Mr. Ma Mario Cavolo is here in the guest rack. Let's roll, guys. Come on, there you go. Everybody is ready to get everything out onto this live stream tonight. I got to tell you guys, we were backstage discussing, should this just be about Nancy Pelosi? Or as other people call her, Pelosi? Or should this be geopolitics about China only? Should it be about America, Mike Pompeo, or Trump's house getting raided this morning by the FBI? I don't know. Pick something, guys. Which one do you want? We're going to go in a clockwork method here, and we're going to start with Mr. Ma from Xinjiang, China. Tell us.
Ladies and gentlemen.
You're up.
So listen, I'm very worried for the oxygen level of the people for the Taiwanese. Their oxygen is going to get cut off. According to CNN now, China now, this is the CNN headline a couple hours ago. China, it seems now we can see China now has the capability to strangle Taiwan. So China wants to strangle Taiwan. If China doesn't want to strangle Taiwan, China wants to attack Taiwan. China wants to invade Taiwan. All of these things that China wants to do to Taiwan, except, as I've been harping on for the last week in all of my media appearances, whatever they are, they don't, CNN and all the other Western propaganda, right? What is it, guys? Right? They don't want you to understand that it's peaceful between China and Taiwan, okay? And if there was any doubt about that yesterday, I got a call from one of the most, shall we say, strategically positioned women that I know here in China, about 50 years old. This woman is about as intelligent and savvy and in the know as anyone could be. And I said to her, I'm getting nervous as an American living here in China, blah, 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 Taiwan, blah, blah, blah. And she interrupted me and she said, you don't need to worry about Taiwan. The situation between China and Taiwan is peaceful. It always is. And it will be. You don't even need to think about that. And of course, I said to her, what you just said just confirms what I've been saying for the last several days. China is not going to strangle Taiwan. China is not going to attack Taiwan. China is not going to invade Taiwan. China is protecting Taiwan from any further U.S. provocations, along with DPP separatists who happen to be in Taiwan. Okay? If you don't understand that that's the real paradigm, that's the real appropriate and accurate framing, then that's my statement for tonight. I'm satisfied. I've already contributed to the show. But I have one more thing to say. Somebody tweeted out to me a tweet. Someone just retweeted one of my tweets from last year. 2021. 1,124 bad people were killed by the police in the United States. Now, that was during a year of typical crime, and whether it's Antifa or bad black people in Chicago, whoever it is, 1,124 people were killed by the police in the United States. Now let's compare. During a full year of constant, nasty, brutal violence in Hong Kong, their police, as an effort of keeping that situation under control, killed, let's play a guessing game, 364 people? 657 people? No. Only 31 people. No! Zero! Let me teach you some Zhongwen Dangda. Zero in Chinese is ling.
Ling.
No, zero. Zip. Okay, so now someone's thinking, so wait a minute, let me understand this. Okay, so there was brutal rioting. They were attacking Hong Kongese people. They were attacking local citizens. They were looting. They were assaulting. They lit a guy on fire. Who did the police kill in return? Who did they attack and invade? Nobody. Zero. Zip. So you think that they want to attack and invade Taiwanese people? How could you be so ignorant? And the answer is, it's the crap propaganda that you hear in the Western media. It's what they don't want you to know and understand. China is Taiwan's #1 trading partner. The friendship and warmth and relationship and economy and commerce between Taiwan and China is friendly, affable. That's a nice word. It's affable. It's real. It's happening. And my Chinese friend, this very well-positioned lady, reminded me of this. I said this to her. She said, yeah, you're absolutely right. That's what I have to say today. That's my opening statement. Gentlemen.
Wow. That's quite an opening statement, Mario. Thank you for that. Thank you very much for that. And just for everybody that's joining this show today, if you'd like to check out our channels, they are all in the links below. Whatever channel you're tuning into, they're all in the links below. And we'll get a little bit more into that later. I was stumbling my words when I started the show today because I got so much stuff to say. But we're going to get around to me in a bit here. We have AJ on here from PTE. Fire away, AJ.
Hey, guys. Can you hear me, by the way?
Absolutely.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, so it's never a dull moment. So I purposely or unpurposely booked my vacation while Nancy Pelosi, shall we call her Pelosi?
Pelosi's guest.
Let's not call her by her real name. So, yeah. So she seems to have booked her vacation to the island of Taiwan. So there's never a dull moment. Here I am on holiday, and all hell is breaking loose in the Taiwanese Strait, and I was relaxed, to be honest, because I knew nothing would happen. I was quite relaxed. But boy, oh boy, did the West think that Nancy Pelosi's plane was going to be shot down, because every single article I was looking at in the West, they were all saying, oh, Nancy Pelosi's plane's going to be shot down and all sorts of mayhem. But the Chinese will come. I knew that's never going to happen. I mean, no, the Chinese don't do that. They don't shoot planes down and stuff. So after she landed, and then a couple of papers, I think it was the Telegraph or the Guardian, was calling the Chinese paper tiger. And I was thinking, hang on a second, how are they a paper tiger if they avoided World War III? I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous how some of these Western journalists act. And it's not just one paper. I saw it on the Guardian, the Times, the Telegraph. They're all calling Chinese the paper tiger. Oh, they're just a paper tiger. They can't do anything. I mean, if a real life situation happens, and if there was a real war in the Taiwanese Strait, mark my words, the British, any British aircraft carriers or American aircraft carriers will be just sunk out the water, because China has got hypersonic missiles and hundreds and thousands of them. When you have one aircraft carrier and gets fired upon by 10 hypersonic missiles, for example, can you see the cost difference? If it costs like 100,000 cost to make one hypersonic missile, and then you got billions and billions of cost with aircraft carrier and billions of and hundreds of thousands of lives, you know, you can't just compare the difference. You know, all China has to do is just throw a couple of hundred hypersonic missiles and they're gone out the water. If there was a real war scenario, this was not a real war scenario. This was Nancy Pelosi, going to cause trouble. And the Chinese were calm. They were calm. They never said they're going to shoot the plane down. No Chinese government official said they're going to shoot the plane down. The Chinese government did not say they're going to shoot the plane down or do anything. I mean, I don't know why the Western media was all going along that story. And yeah, it's kind of ridiculous, really. Anyway, I'm back now, so let's kind of give my time to the rest of you guys.
Fermube, Fernando.
Hey, Alex. Guys, friends, thank you so much for tuning in. So let me tell you a little bit about what my experience has been with all this Pelosi situation, and then we go into other aspects of geopolitics that we want to discuss today. Look, basically, my perspective is that this woman with so many personal problems back at home, yeah, with her husband going through a DUI and awaiting sentencing that could end up being 5 years in prison, and the whole idea of her insider trading stories. What did she say at 82? And probably not going to be running for another term, not going to be the leader of the House, the Speaker of the House anymore. She says, oh, I'm going to go out in a blaze of glory, see if I can start some trouble. But of course, as always, the Chinese outsmarted them. My real fear was not that she was going to be shut down. I mean, that wouldn't happen. My biggest fear was these 3 air forces in the air, and what would happen with a misunderstanding. Let's say that they want to route her plane to another island, say Japan, say Philippines, and in that maneuver something gets misunderstood and then we have an incident. We have the excuse that basically America was looking for, because that's what they wanted. They wanted a Pearl Harbor, they wanted Yalun River, they wanted an excuse to go to war, justification for it. But what's really smart is that the Chinese didn't give it to her. By watching her safely land and take off, they send very important signals, friends. Number one, that peaceful reunification is a real thing. They mean it. It is peaceful and it is reunification. It's not going to be by a show of force. So this is why I say to Taiwanese people, you can be as relaxed, as calm as you want to be, because you're not going to be invaded. The second thing is, no other country in the world can say, after seeing this temptation to act, this pressure, because a lot of people in China wanted China to act. And as I said in one of my videos, can you imagine for a second that round table, Xi Jinping with his generals, watching this plane getting closer and closer to the sovereign line on the Pacific, and the pressure of knowing that his people wanted action, but he knew better. Aren't we grateful? Aren't we all grateful and thankful that we live in a country where adults are at the helm? So, no country, having seen this heightened stakes, this heightened situation, can call China a threat. They were tempting them, and they did not take the bait. So that's a very important thing. And the third thing that we can get out of this is that, well, that line, that median on the Strait has just disappeared. If China wants to assert their territorial waters and airspace, now those are on the east side of Taiwan. Thank you very much, Nancy Pelosi is what we call her now.
Yep. Yep.
So those 3 consequences are important to keep in mind in terms of China's international stance. Number 1, peaceful reunification is real. Number 2, that median is gone. Now, one China is really one China, and you want to know where that red line, just bring those Navy ships here, and they'll meet at D16 or D17. And the other thing is, China is not a threat. China is doing everything within the measured reaction that you could expect from a mature and a very stable country. So that's what I wanted to say. Now, in terms of repercussions, my opening, this diplomacy and all this canceling of agreements, that there are certain, as Mario was saying in a private conversation, there are certain conversations that are done behind closed doors. These kind of agreements in which countries cooperate in different aspects. So there's military operations to protect against terrorism and things like that. There's communication between countries, criminal investigations, narcotics investigations. There's also climate change. There's all these different aspects that countries are constantly communicating with each other. And, well, Kerry has just gone out and said, like, oh, China closing the door on climate change is going to be bad for the world. Well, you fail to remember, your audience, that it was Trump who removed America from the Paris Agreement, from the Paris Accord, just a few years ago. And you also failed to remind your listeners and audience, this scary gentleman, that China is doing way more for the environment than America is on its own, by itself. So diplomatically, we are in a situation where it's difficult to see how we are going to normalize communications. What is needed here is an apology. What is needed here is some contrition. What is needed here is some accepting that they messed up. But the question is, when have you ever seen that from the United States? Never. So that's the question in the air. And that's my short introduction to today's video, guys. Thank you so much.
Well, let me pick it up from there. Thank you, Fernando, for that. I'm just going to read something out to the audience and sit back, maybe grab a coffee, glass of wine, beer, wherever you are in this world. Here's a statement from the American government. In keeping with the China policy, the U.S. does not support de jure Taiwan independence. This is the State Department, the U.S. government putting this out. But it does support Taiwan's membership in appropriate international organizations such as the World Trade Organization, Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Forum, and the Asian Development Bank, where statehood is not a requirement for the membership. In addition, the U.S. supports appropriate opportunities for Taiwan's voice to be heard in organizations where its membership is not possible. That's one statement. I also got a question for maybe this panel. Can anyone, even in the audience today, and I'm going to think about how I'm going to pose this question to you guys. Can anyone come up with a name of a powerful enemy that needs to have 800 army bases all over the world to defeat itself? And what I mean by that is the Americans have 800 military bases all around the world here. I put a video out this weekend about China's military, and pretty much everybody, well, sorry, let me say that again.
140,000.
Most people stated that China would be wiped off the face of this earth. Well, if the army is a tofu army, as you claim, then why do you need 800 military bases? And here's where it gets more interesting, okay? I don't know if this panel is aware of the Taiwan Policy Act of 2022. Did you see that? Deep down in the files? A raise of hands. Did anybody see that?
Which part?
Well, let me tell you about this. The Taiwan Policy Act of 2022 promotes the security of Taiwan, ensures regional stability, and deters people of the People's Republic of China's aggression against Taiwan. It also threatens severe sanctions against the PRC for hostile actions against Taiwan. Now, here's the kicker, guys. The Taiwan Policy Act 2022 creates an initiative to bolster Taiwan's defense capabilities, providing almost, get your checkbook out, $4.5 billion in security assistance over the next 5 years. And let me tell you guys what that sets up, okay? Medvedev in Russia said the other day, thanks for stealing all the billions of dollars from our wealthy people. We're going to continue to take land until we feel that the calculation of all the money that you stole equivalates to all the land we're going to achieve or, get back what they feel is rightfully theirs. He actually said, we were going to stop at Donbass, but hey, is this getting financial? If it is, we'll just keep going. Now, my concerns about all this is the following. And there's a paper circulating around the internet. It was leaked, surprise, surprise, that the Ukraine government is indebted to the United States government for approximately, I'm hearing anywhere from $80 billion to $130 billion. There is a 15-year payback plan. Don't know where, we haven't verified this yet, but the paper is interesting. It's a 15-year plan to pay back the United States government for it. It will allow for 11 military bases to be produced or set up in Ukraine, part Ukraine, or whatever the new Ukraine is going to be called. Poland will also share a part of that, and Romania will also share a part of that. The electrical grids, the plutonium plants, the railways, the coals, the steel-making plants will all be heavily corporated tax or even nationalized to pay back the debt to America over 15 years. So, support. Stand by. Well, stand by. If your country opens up its checkbook or its credit card to the United States, be prepared to have 807 military bases or 825 military bases around the world, because that's where we're going. Mario.
I don't mind that there are financial considerations in the world. Do you? Seriously, let's all be honest. I don't mind that. You could say, okay, Lithuania, we'll take Lithuania as an example. And I just finished a big report on Lithuania. So I dug deep into this. So I will say I'm qualified to discuss it. Okay. I just finished a long research report, hours. So what's going on with Lithuania? Nothing actually that weird. Okay. They had a quite low amount of trade with China. They had an opportunity to have much more trade with Taiwan, and the U.S. had come along and supported that and guaranteed that and said to Lithuania, yeah, we'll back you on this. So for Lithuania, in terms of the economic financial picture, there was a lot of very serious considerations. You're running a country. You're responsible for all your people. Lithuania is a peaceful country. Lithuania wasn't attacking China. Lithuania wasn't talking bad shit about China. Nothing. They just said, we're going to open up our relationship with Taiwan. I mean, $10 billion worth $1 billion is a serious consideration. I'm running the country. I got that's a very serious thing. So, okay. And then Lithuania, as we all know, went toward Taiwan. And of course, they have U.S. backing on that. That's cool. I mean, I could say, all right, that you're not like a monster for doing that. Which leads me to my favorite word in Chinese, which is guofengge, right? That's not over the line. You could say it pissed off the Chinese for a good reason. You could say it broke a little bit of protocol there, but it was for financial, economic reasons. And, we made our choice here. Okay. Not a huge disaster, but that's a completely different thing than the second in line statesman going on a military plane to Taiwan, and while on the soil of Taiwan, directly speaking in a way that directly breaks 5 decades of known protocol that the entire world agrees on, as even a rock band guy knows. He said, since 1948, all the world agrees that Taiwan is part of China. Nobody disagrees on this. One or two countries. And this woman, second in line in the United States, a critical U.S.-China relationship is the most critical relationship in the world. So what the hell is she doing while on Taiwanese soil, doing her opening remarks, referring to Taiwan as a country, breaking the protocol? Now that's serious. That's direct. And so this is the difference between the two kind of things. I can accept the idea there's financial, economic considerations, not the crap that Crazy Nancy pulled.
You know, Mario, interesting point. We're going to move forward to Fernando to respond to that.
Yeah, no, there was a comment from Huang Tua, and he was talking about, okay, Nancy Pelosi was in Taipei trying to accelerate and to speed up the process of independence of Taiwan. Here's why this will never happen. The Constitution of Taiwan stipulates that the Republic of China is not only the island of Taiwan, it's Taiwan and all of mainland, plus parts of Russia and parts of Mongolia. So it's not just the island. So if they're going to go for independence, they would have to resign all that land because they don't control it in any way, shape, or form. Now, the Constitution itself does not allow for that, to resign to all that land, sorry. So that's the first thing that I wanted to do. It is impossible for her to call a referendum and call for independence. On that same thought, you've got to remember that the vast majority of Taiwanese people don't want to change the status quo. What does that mean? It means that the separatists are actually a minority. So what you're saying is that minority is going to impose the will on the majority? How democratic does that sound to anybody here? That's a very important thing. Now, the second thing that I wanted to talk about is the possibility of war, because I saw John Bauer, a good friend of mine, posted something about the only way that the war is going to take place. How do you fight wars? You fight them at close contact, either via proxy or your own armies, or from afar. So, if you're going to fight it at close contact via proxy like in Ukraine, this would be the Taiwan Army. The Taiwan Army is having a lot of issues recruiting soldiers. The Taiwanese army is old, is not motivated, these are young people that don't want the sacrifice. I understand that at one point some recruits were suing the army because they had to work very hard under the sun. So that's the issue that you have there. You have an army that is not only old equipment, but is not really motivated to go to war. I mean, you also have to understand that these are, for the most part, brothers and sisters, uncles and aunts, grandpas and grandmas, with people in the mainland. They don't want to go to war with family. So that rules out that close proximity war. That would be over in a matter of days. So what about America bringing its Navy ships to the coastline of China? Well, they'll be sitting ducks. They'll be sitting ducks for all these missiles, and it will be very costly and probably will not be able to happen. It would just, again, would be a disaster for the United States, which is already quite stretched in terms of military involvements around the world. So the other option is from afar. That's basically nuclear. This is something that I don't want to talk about it because I don't know too much about the legislation, the protocols or whatnot, but nobody wants to talk about that option. So if we're not going to escalate to that point, then we really don't have any conflict. We don't have a war. We don't have a path to war, if you understand what I mean. There's no path to independence, as I just mentioned, and there's no path to war. And my final thought before I relinquish my time, let us all remember that Nancy Pelosi is the person who confessed during a town hall with Jake Tapper from CNN last year, that when she was the head of the intelligence, what they call the group of four in Congress, in the Senate, she received all the intelligence during which Colin Powell and all the White House was saying Iraq has weapons of mass destruction. What she acknowledged, what she accepted on camera, was that they knew there were no weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. So ask yourselves 1 second, why is this woman not in jail, not in prison, not rotting somewhere at The Hague? This woman knew that there were no weapons of mass destruction. She admitted it on camera in public last year. And still she sent American soldiers to kill millions of Iraqis and Afghanis. And so that's who Nancy Pelosi is. That's who actually landed in Taipei. And that's how you understand that this woman had absolutely no issues calling Taiwan a country. She has absolutely zero morals, zero ethics, zero humanity. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys.
Thank you, Fernando. I wanted to add a point here. I've been reading some of the comments in the sides here about military standoffs. I'm going to plug my own video here because trust me, there's over 2,500 comments on a video that's been up 36 hours on my channel, and it says what it means, China's military. Have a look at it. All these things about China, U.S. subs are going to completely sink the entire naval ships of the Chinese. You know, the Chinese have mapped the bloody ocean, right? They have. Are you aware of that? They mapped the ocean. They know what's going on, every rock, you name it. And we are to believe that an entire fleet is going to come all the way across the world, full tank, maybe half a tank by the time it gets over here, and you're going to come miles within the mainland and let it rip? Nice try. We saw that with COVID, guys. How's that working out? Let me add something to this, and I'm really getting pissed about this. You want to know how to commit political suicide? Okay? You want to know how to do it? I'm going to show you the guy that's doing it right now, okay? This is the Lithuanian president, and I think some of the viewers know my wife's Lithuanian.
Oh, yeah.
That is how you commit political suicide. What do you do? You piss off the Chinese. You piss off the Chinese first, and then you piss off the Russians at the same time. Let's cut off the Russians' economical route, trains coming through Kaliningrad all the way to the mainland in Russia. Nothing, absolutely nothing to do with Lithuania. But why? Oh, well, it's coming through our territories. Read the bloody agreements you and the European Union signed up for, guys. You want to know what? Boris Johnson is out. Australia's president is out. They're fallen. Draghi is out. And this guy is the next guy that is going to be dragged out by the collar, out the door, and on with somebody that's got a brain in their bloody head. Because that guy right there on the screen is just been, well, let's say it, political suicide, buddy. How's your economy going to be working out? And you know what? When people say, well, Lithuanians trade a little bit with China, is not very big. Guess what? When you're importing goods into the European Union, I think there's 27 countries last time I counted. I don't know, plus or minus one. I don't know when the UK wants to be in and whatever, when they don't want to be in. But when you are importing goods into the European Union, trust me, China knows on the tariff code the end country that goes to. So, well, these guys think, well, let's just bring some stuff in through Germany and then it'll get, forwarded up to Lithuania. Guys, nice try. It doesn't work that way. It won't work that way. So farmers impacted, contractors impacted, people in the steel industry impacted, oil and gas industry now impacted. Mažeikiai Nafta, one of the biggest refineries in Lithuania, up near the border between Latvia, between between Vikšne and Vikšne. Sorry, that's my wife's town. Mažeikiai, it's called the Mažeikiai Nafta, and that's between Mažeikiai and Riga. That is the bloodline for Lithuania. How the hell are you guys going to be refining gas when the pipelines are going to be shut off for you morons? I mean, this kind of stuff you just cannot make up. And this guy, I mean, you just look at him. He's all happy there. Oh yeah, we've got to announce a new military package to the Ukraine. Enjoy it, buddy, because your 15 minutes of fame are over. On to you, AJ. Sorry about that, but guys, I just have to call a spade a spade.
Oh, sure.
Fire away.
Oh, there's so many things to talk about. I think there's a couple of months ago, I read a report that German tires were banned in China. They weren't importing it because one particular component was coming from Lithuania. So Chinese companies basically said no to German tires. So it's just a small example, but yeah, I mean, Lithuania has been very much a troublemaker for China. They are what you call a Chihuahua country. They're pretty much a yes man for the United States. I remember when George Bush wanted to invade Iraq, Lithuania was one of the first countries which stood up and said, yes, do it. And Lithuania was so fond of George Bush that they made some sort of statue and a plaque in the center of Lithuania saying, when George Bush said, if you mess around with Lithuania, you mess around with us. George Bush said that about Lithuania. So it's just
money.
Yeah, it's they're very small countries. Only got 3 million people. I mean, that's just lower than maybe a lowest tier city in China. 3 million people is not going to do much. And most of the people in Lithuania, they work abroad, they work in Europe, they work in the United States. There is really not much of an economy in Lithuania when people say it. But like I said, that German tire thing is just an example. Lithuania is affected much more than what people think. So going back to the military part of things, I mean, I completely agree with you that, there's probably not going to be a nuclear exchange at this stage because China has got nuclear weapons and it's got hypersonic weapons as well. So there is no way United States would be able to stop any hypersonic missiles landing in its cities. So nuclear option has gone out the table. Direct war with China will go out the window because, the United States, no, they cannot go into a direct war with China. China has all the advantage when it comes to Taiwan. It's their territory. They have hundreds and thousands of missiles pointing towards the island, plus all of their allies will be destroyed. We're talking about Japan, Australia, South Korea, possibly if they attack from there. So the only other option that United States has, and I was talking to a military expert about this, and the only option the United States has is United States still has an advantage over China in terms of having a blue water navy. And what blue water navy is, it can project its power far away from its borders. At the moment, China is not that level because they still need a lot of work to do. They are a green water navy, but they're not a blue water navy. So what America would do, I mean, they know about this. They would probably try and blockade China, blockade the Malacca Strait, blockade many other straits around the world. They will try and block trade. They'll try and suffocate China in that way. They did that against Japan, and this is why Japan attacked Pearl Harbor. So that's what America would do. They will try and blockade China, but that's going to fail. I mean, China is an up-and-coming blue water navy. They once they have the new aircraft carrier ready, they will start projecting further outwards. Any blockades will be easily destroyed by Chinese submarines, and also once the H-20 missile bomber comes out as well, that will be a huge advantage for China. And I think China is probably another couple of years away from being a blue water navy, so they're not that far. And America knows this. They know that they have a very small window when it comes to China. China right now, is very powerful. But every year goes past, China is becoming more and more powerful. And by 2030, they would be at a point when America would have a lot more casualties than China would. I mean, right now, things are a bit, you just don't know. It could go either way. There could be a lot of casualties on both sides. By 2030, China's military will be very, very powerful, probably on par or better than American military in many ways. But by 2045, 2050, they would probably be surpassing the United States. They will be surpassing it because you have to see China's manufacturing and how many ships they're releasing every year and how many planes they're releasing every year, how many missiles they're creating. And because China is a huge manufacturing power, they will churn these out very cheap compared to what America would. So by 2045, they will definitely surpass America. So they have a very small window between maybe 1 or 2 years. And this is why they're poking the dragon right now, because they know that, if China makes a mistake, like if they shot down Pelosi's plane, it would have given the Americans an excuse to start World War III. But like Fermube said, China is the adult in the room. They didn't do anything like that, so it's good. They avoided World War III, and they could have shot the plane down if they wanted, but it's not how Chinese work. And they are the adult in the room. But like I said, the military, this Chinese military still has a long way to go before it becomes a blue water military. And this is why America has 800 bases around the world, because, it needs these 800 bases to become a blue water navy. It needs to be able to it needs to send its ships to a port and refuel and move around the world. And this is why they have 800 bases around the world. And China's only got 1, maybe 2, possibly, maybe 3 coming up. So going back to Pelosi, I mean, this fashionable granny. I mean, you can see how, she's obviously trying to be fashionable. Her face mask matches her top, and she must have been really scared on that flight going into Taiwan. I mean, first of all, she's a liar, because in her itinerary, she didn't even mention she was going to Taiwan. She said in her itinerary she's going to go to Seoul and Japan. So first of all, she's a liar. Second of all, people say that she went out of her own accord, but she was escorted by aircraft carriers and military planes, and you cannot go by your own accord without having that kind of backup when you go to Taiwan. So obviously she had a lot of backup from the Biden administration, from the neocons, because you can imagine how much money they spent on her trip. Not only did she go by herself, the security, they had basically one aircraft carrier plus 2 on standby escorting her. They had all of these military escorts and planes. And you can imagine how much money they spent just sending her to Taiwan. And it just shows that it's not her own doing. I mean, this is a decision that was taken far above her pay grade, and they probably used her as a pawn. They probably used her as some sort of martyr. They looked at the administration. They thought, I tell you what, I think Nancy Pelosi is quite expendable. So let's send her to Taiwan. Let's not send anyone like Blinken or Biden. Let's send Nancy Pelosi. If her planes get shot down, we'll use her as a martyr, and we'll start World War III with China. So she must have been really, really scared on her flight to Taiwan. I can imagine she must have at least changed her, underwear or pants a few times during that flight. I mean, the whole world thought the Chinese were going to shoot that plane down, but she's basically a pawn. I can see, she was definitely pushed to the strip. It wasn't just out of her own accord. And I remember there was a phone call between Biden and President Xi. And President Xi said to Biden's face, "You must be a real useless president if you cannot control your staff." Because Biden was saying, "Oh, she's going out of her own accord. I can't control her. Well, this is democracy." But you are the president of the United States, and if something like this can cause World War III, you need to put your foot down and say to Nancy Pelosi, "No, you can't go. This is breaking the one China policy. You're going to cause a lot of issues. This could cause war. You stay in your room. You stay in your lane." I mean, Biden could have easily done that, but he didn't. He allowed her to go. And this is what President Xi said to Biden: "You are a real shitty president." I mean, in diplomatic terms, you are a really shitty president. And if you play with fire, you're going to get burnt. And if you cannot control your administration, if you cannot control your team, then why are you president? What are you? You're absolutely useless. And President Xi said that in his face. And I think that I saw some transcripts on some Chinese websites, but President Xi was not happy. So I think Pelosi left definitely not to blame for all of this. It's definitely the admin which actually pushed her to go. They did it for a reason. They wanted to cause trouble, and they wanted to cause trouble because they need an enemy in Asia, and they need an enemy. They want to expand NATO, and if they make China the enemy, other countries will sign up to the Asian NATO, and they'll be able to make more money within military industrial complex. They'll be able to sell more weapons, and it's all part of the big picture, guys. It's not just Pelosi. It's all part of one major picture, and the major picture is make Russia an enemy, push NATO towards Russian borders, and make China an enemy, and have a brand new NATO, Asian NATO, and have Japan, South Korea, and other countries join it, and Australia as well. And so, yeah, that's my say. Over to you guys.
Mario.
Yes, very great stuff from everyone. And I want to jump on a couple of things here. Really good questions or comments in the comment section. John Champion, good evening. He asks a great question, which now I'm trying to find it again. China, his question was something along the lines of, so if China is building up its military, here we go, how can China continue to say peaceful rise if they keep growing and I'll add the words, and expanding their military? John, thank you for such a great question. And I'm going to give you the answer. The answer, I will even, please go to my newsletter. Go to my Mr. Ma's Counterpoint China and subscribe. It's free right now. It's my newsletter at Substack. Please go and read the latest piece, because this is where you get a more thorough explanation, but let me give it to you right now. Who is China attacking with its expanding military? Who has China attacked with its military, which has continuously expanded over the last 4 decades, especially the last decade? But who have they attacked with that military? Anyone? No. So, John, the answer to you is very clear. Yes, China is expanding its military. China's military expansion is a defensive response to defend and protect its own sovereignty from any incursions by other malign parties who attack them. China is not building up its military to attack anyone, and the proof is in the fact that for almost a half a century, they haven't attacked anyone. The only example that you can come up with where China got involved in a war was when they did get involved in the Vietnam War. This was mid-70s. So this puts us at like 46, 47 years, like I said, almost a half century. So, John, there's your answer. Okay, it's a defensive military, and as such, I want to further point out that, and I'm going to go back and relate to all the comments about that AJ just shared regarding potential things that were happening or could happen militarily. My mind doesn't work that way. The way my mind works is, and please check back with our next podcast in about 6 months to see whether I'm right or wrong, because I'm telling you right now what's going on is there will not be any war because the war is already over. And I've said this very, very clearly. Nothing more is going to happen unless the United States are lunatics who will, like, once again, drop nuclear bombs on Hiroshima or Nagasaki or attack Vietnam like they've done. And they might. But that would be on the United States. What I want to be very clear about, and Fernando alluded to it as well, there's no path to independence. There's no path to war. Someone tell me why. What I'm saying to you is, thank you, Nancy Pelosi. This woman, Donald Trump even figured it out. This woman handed China the excuse to take control of the Taiwan situation. Notice the words I used. This is very important. I did not say that China is using its beefed up military for the last 6-7 days since the Nancy thing, okay, to control Taiwan. I didn't say that. Okay, China is acting in a way the underlying value and purpose of what China is doing, protect Taiwan and China's sovereignty, which is Taiwan is part of China's sovereignty. They are compatriots. They are comrades. They are Taiwanese. If you think China's going to attack them, you really just are. You've missed the. What is it? You've lost the plot. That's the phrase. You've lost the plot. Okay, so this is strictly to protect Taiwan and to protect China's sovereignty, which includes Taiwan. And you got to understand something happened at this point. The United States, we have hit the last nail in the coffin. We hit the straw that broke the camel's back. Who and whatever behind the scenes, that might have been, some people are saying to me that might have even been intentional, that they planned, Nancy Pelosi, they did this on purpose. I don't know. I don't care. It doesn't matter. What I'm telling you is point blank. China has now taken control. They're like, we're Guafunla here. This woman's gone over the line. Last nail in the coffin. Straw in the camel's back. It's broken. Party's over. The one-child China policy is no more. Fernando, I got it. The one-child policy is no more. I'm serious, folks. China has taken full control of the Taiwan situation. Now, I am telling you, again, 30 days later, 6 months later, folks, please check back with Mr. Ma on this podcast or anything else that I say, and let's see whether I'm right or not. 23 years on China, I haven't been wrong, so I don't think so. The level of military control and the level of control that China now has, they will never reduce it. Do you understand me? We have a new ball game, the new Taiwan paradigm. That's the title of my article, my last article on Substack. Read it. China has taken control. Trump figured it out. Okay, I think I'm going to stop right there. You get my point? There is no way anyone is going to penetrate or beat China on Taiwan. It's over already. And trust me, in Washington, in the corridors and private rooms of Washington, D.C., they're sitting there right now going, oops. There's no way for them to do anything now. They can't do anything now other than off the cliff, right? They can't little move here and there. The only thing they can do is off the cliff. Send us into World War III. Lunacy, like Vietnam again. Okay? They might. I don't know. But that's the only move they can make. And if they do, they'll be roundly condemned, as they should be, by the entire international community. China's in control of Taiwan. It's to protect Taiwan. End of discussion. It's done. We are in a new paradigm.
Each time I want to bring up the military, and I worked on thank you guys for being patient watching part of my video. I'm proud of it though. But I took a couple months in researching for that video, and I kept coming back to people talking about the budgets, Alex, the budgets. Look at the budgets. The budgets are different, And one of my subscribers, he said this, quote unquote, when I was in the U.S. Army in the early 90s as a unit supply specialist, a screwdriver that anyone could buy at Home Depot for $8 was being sold to the Army for 10 times that, almost $80 to $100. So the fact that the U.S. has been a huge defense budget compared to China doesn't really mean much. China is the manufacturing base of the world, so they're getting that same screwdriver for $2. And I think that makes an interesting point, because also we are told that these militaries are untested, they don't have experience. But then, do you see billions of dollars of Chinese tanks hanging around in a foreign country? Or billions of dollars of warheads and ammunition going unaccounted for? We're hearing figures as much as 70% of the stuff is going missing to the Ukraine, and 30% of it is getting to the so-called front lines before it's obliterated. Wow. What a machine, man. What a machine. I have to tell you guys, hang in there.
Alex.
Hang
Alex,
in there.
Yeah,
Hold it.
go Alex.
Hang in
go.
there. Hang in
Go,
there.
Alex.
Hang.
Go,
I'm
Alex.
feeling you, Mario. I'm feeling you.
Go, Alex.
When you see this kind of money floating back and forth, and all these NATO countries are involved. Now, I've been to Yugoslavia. I call it Yugoslavia at the time. But when I went there, it was all broken up and smashed into pieces by the 1999 NATO, U.S.-led NATO, I'll call it invasion, that bombarded Serbia for 78 days, one of the biggest aerial bombardments ever to be seen in the history books, obliterated that place. Now people say, but NATO, that wasn't even a NATO country. So NATO was okay to go in there, but they're not okay to go into the Ukraine. So let me get this straight. What is NATO? Well, NATO is one hell of a big warehouse for military goods. It's a catalog system. Have you got your 2023 edition of the NATO book, Compliance Book, for your country? Just order now. It's free to get the catalog. Now, who's getting the new catalog? Sweden? Catalogs are coming to you. Finland? Catalogs are coming to you too. And you get to order multi-billions of dollars of equipment. Why? Because we get 2% of your GDP until your grandkids are born. That's what we do. And guess what? With all the garbage military equipment that's sitting around in Poland and Romania and all these countries, they're going to ship you their used garbage and they're going to replenish it with new stuff. Just so your army that you've built up in your sovereign nation for many years can become NATO compliant. And I bet you that catalog is bigger than the old Sears catalog that they used to send out to me when I was a kid and got excited around Christmas time. I bet you that catalog is a big catalog. And there are there are no $2 screwdrivers in that catalog. No, they're the $80 screwdrivers.
I want a new fluffy couch. I want a new fluffy couch for the living room.
Well, you can get that, and you can get some arms from the NATO catalog that has just been mailed out to you. Mario, on to you, Mario. Yeah. And Mario, I'm going to cut you off next time.
Me, it's you.
You little bugger. I'm going to do it. What do you mean it's me?
I did good. Alex, I did good. Alex, it's you. Alex.
Go ahead.
You mentioned take it to Fernando, because there's a guy, I want to say to Fernando, Alex, because there's a guy pointing out that, so because Fernando pointed out that there's a Taiwan separatist on the mainland in China who got arrested for, again, it's called sedition and treason, right? You get arrested because you are trying to break the government, right? It's against the law. So
right.
Fernando points out this Taiwan separatist got arrested on the mainland. There's a guy in the chat group calling Fernando a Nazi. So this is fun. So you guys have this chat. I mean, I don't get it at all. Where's this guy coming from? I think he must be an American smoking marijuana. You know, they all smoke marijuana.
No, he says he's Australian.
Okay, well,
he says he's Australian.
I'll come back to that in a second here. I'm going to answer a question here by John Champion. Alex suggesting Milosevic was a good guy. Okay. Well, John, this is going to be a little bit complex, but I'm going to answer your question. Let's look at what led. And remember, we're going to backtrack because you never heard his name until it was paraded around on the national television in the United States. My father served in the Canadian Navy. My grandfather died in the Second World War in the Canadian Navy. And my father said to me, He came home one day with a brand new television. I said, Dad, what the hell is that for? Why? We got a new TV. We just got one a couple of years ago. He says, there's going to be a war. I said, war where? He says, Yugoslavia. I said, what in the hell are we going to be doing in Yugoslavia? What's going on there? Put the timetable together, John. President Bill Clinton about to be, we all know what was happening around that time, right?
Yep.
He was about to be removed from office. And what do we have working for us? And we all know now, in this day and age, the media. The media was so potent around that time. One word has been invented around that time. Anybody know? Well, actually, it's two words, but anyone want to know what word was used for the first time during that war or so-called invasion? The word ethnic cleansing was a word designed to use to drum up, to get that push forward into the airwaves all across the United States, America, and everything, and we bought it. And it disturbed me for years. So I decided to travel to that country and see what happened after it was broken up into massive pieces and shared through all over the airwaves. Because, like me and other content creators, we were hearing one side. One side. Mm-hmm. Just like you're hearing one side in other geopolitical issues. Well, one day I went to Serbia, landed in Belgrade, city the size of Vancouver, Canada, only had 3 flights coming in, and that was years after the war. I visited that town. I went to a club for the night, tried to get into a club, and a girl said, nice try to get into this bar, nice try. And I said, what do you mean? She says, you know what I mean. I said, well, I'm not an American. I'm a Canadian. She said, even worse. And she said, Alex, do me a favor. You go down that street, 150 yards, you turn to your left and you look up. If you like what you see there, you come back in, you can have any table in this club. No problem. I did that. I walked down 150 meters and I saw the biggest Canadian flag hanging from a bombed building. I was disturbed. I went back to my hotel. I sat at the bar. Big Serbian bartenders. He says, you look like you've seen a ghost there, young man. And I said, yeah. I said, I just saw my flag hanging from the building. And he says, Canadian? I said, yeah. Said, Maple Leaf. Yeah, Maple Leaf. He said, man, your CF-14s are fast. He says, I was on top of the buildings here using our anti-aircraft machinery. We couldn't catch your jets. But, you know, isn't it interesting how I can serve you a bar, sir? Or serve you a beer, sir? We can sit here and chat when 70% of the bombardments came from your jets, your NATO-led Canadian Air Force. So, do I believe Milosevic? Do I believe U.S. media? I don't believe anyone. All I know is I got on these feet. I went down there. People like Patrick Lancaster that are risking his lives in eastern part of Ukraine, the Donetsk People's Republic. These are the storytellers that are getting as close to the truth as possible and continually getting demonetized every single day. The Dive Show with, I can't remember his name. Anybody know the guy that did the dive? He's calling it The Dive. Anybody know that show?
Jackson Hinkle, I think.
Yeah, Jackson. So Jackson started a YouTube channel. Wanted to give an alternative way to the media. A few months into it, boom, demonetized. Bang, PayPal shut down. Boom, Facebook gone. Crowdfunding gone. Everything gone. 2 strikes on his YouTube account. 1 more to go, and he's silenced. So, do I believe Slobodan Milosevic? I don't know what to believe anymore. I really don't know. Anyway,
I think that when you talk about getting on your feet and go to see by yourself. It is of the utmost importance to do so. I understand that due to COVID, traveling is so difficult, but when all you hear about China is, they are oppressed, they just Smirconish, when he was interviewing Rogers, it was like, they're killing their own. Where? Where the F are they killing their own? Millions of people walk the streets of China with their phones, making Douyin videos, which is the TikTok here in China, and posted them. Where do you see the millions of people being oppressed, not being free, not getting killed? Oh, it's taking place in Xinjiang. I'm like, wait. What took place in Xinjiang was a situation of terrorism, a situation of extremism that became terrorism, and that China decided to tackle in a different way from the one that America would have. No drones, no bombing, no blowing people to smithereens. No, we're going to go in there and we're going to bring safety back. How do we do that? Well, we need to check everyone's affiliation. Are you a terrorist sympathizer? Are you a terrorist aider or abettor? Are you a terrorist yourself? Are you a regular human being trying to live his life, her life peacefully and pursuing happiness? How do they do that? Was that intrusive? You bet it was freaking intrusive. But once you know who is who is what, you end up with different categories of people. The people who run away and get paid by NED and get paid by Uyghur Congress and the CIA to yap about the abuse, and that's the guy who escaped. You also have the people who were terrorists themselves or aiders and abettors, and they were caught and they're in prison. There are prisons in Xinjiang, as they are in anywhere in the world.
Oh.
If you had a terrorist problem, oh my God, yeah. And there were people who were susceptible to indoctrination. What are some of the most common recipes of indoctrination? One of them is dissatisfaction with the government, dissatisfaction with your life, not enough money, no prospects in your life, so you turn to radicalization. You're easy to radicalize when you're unhappy with your life. What did they do? Okay, let's give these people the tools that they need to find jobs, to become employable. And it's a multi-pronged action. They also bring investment from abroad so that they can employ the people that they're training. And look, there's a new factory 400 kilometers from here. They offer you room, board, medical insurance, social security, training, and 3,000 RMB a month. That is multiple times better than what that person had up until a year or 2 years ago. This was branded as re-education. And people go like, oh my God, re-education is a horrible thing. Re-education is something that encompasses rehabilitating people who were at the cusp, at the brink of becoming radicalized, and bring them to becoming useful members of society by learning skills and jobs. One of them, because for those of you who don't know, I went there. I saw this. One of the skills is language. One of the skills is Mandarin. Why? This summer, millions and millions of tourists went to Xinjiang. And how do they handle these tourists? In Mandarin. When I was there in April 2021 with Noel Lee, who's in the chat, I know, we talked to a taxi driver who told us, I'm so happy that my daughter is learning Mandarin because she's going to have a better future than I do. I wish I'd learned Mandarin before. It's a little bit too late for me. His Mandarin was really broken. So, what are Westerners calling all this? Cultural genocide. So when I learned English in Colombia, was that cultural genocide? When I learned French at a French school, all my studies were at a French school. Was that cultural genocide? Did that erase my Colombian nature? Or did it allow me to become a language professor as I am right now? You ponder for a second. That's what they call cultural genocide. So
it's a new phrase. They invented this new phrase, right?
Yeah.
Well, you guys got to also understand that they've invented that phrase, and what I just brought onto the show, used for the first time during the NATO invasion into Yugoslavia, ethnic cleansing. Ethnic cleansing.
Right. Right. Ethnic
and I'm
cleansing,
gonna and Mario, we'll come on to you in a bit. I need to set this one up for AJ here. AJ, I'm pretty certain that you've heard about this. Now, you guys are aware of Patrick Lancaster. He's a independent crowdfunded journalist. He's a very good friend of mine. When people get worried, he goes off the radar. There's a few reasons for it. I've been in touch with him. Everything is okay for the moment. I hear that he's been under quite a bit of an attack by a lot of Western media now. And well, I'm not going to get too much into that, okay? Because it's pretty heavy for one guy with a wonderful wife and 2 kids to deal with, and reporting from a bloody war zone. He's under a tremendous amount of pressure. Now, I think for the viewers, just so you guys, I'm not sure if everybody knows, but Graham Phillips and Patrick Lancaster know each other. They know each other very well. And there's a little bit of a rivalry between them both. But that's not where I'm going with this story. I'm going with this story for AJ. AJ, how is it possible that a crowdfunded independent journalist, not on the payroll of anyone but himself, how the F is it possible that he's been sanctioned by his own government, his bank accounts have been blocked, all of his assets blocked, but that ain't the gist of it. That some idiot in the member of parliament said that maybe he should be brought up on war crime charges for reporting on the area. Where are we going with this, AJ?
Yeah, well, when I was growing up and it was painted, China and Russia, communist countries, it was painted that they had no freedom, the citizens had no freedom, it's a totalitarian state. And now it looks like the West is becoming totalitarian, sorry, I can't say the word, but the West is becoming exactly how they painted communists to be. And China is not even a communist country, and nor is Russia. And the West is now turning to having these kind of communist rules where they have total control over its citizens, and there's not really any rights to freedom, and things have got worse. Things are getting much, much worse. I think I saw glimpses of it after the Iraq War, and since then they have been really cracking down. And then you got Julian Assange, and yeah, it's just got really, really worse. And and right now I'm working in a government job. I'm a civil servant, and I'm really, really scared to kind of say the truth because of the consequences what could happen to me. Because you see people around me being demonetized or being sanctioned, and these are their own citizens. And the other day I was walking down, I don't know if you know that there's a place in England called Speaker's Corner. And Speaker's Corner is one area where you can say what you want and you have total freedom to say whatever you like, and nobody will kind of arrest you or do anything to you. I had one guy there being pro-Russian, and guess what? He got arrested. He got arrested, got taken away by the police, and I'm thinking, Speaker's Corner was supposed to be an area where you have total freedom to say whatever you want, and you have people now getting arrested there, and it's becoming a farce. And England, Britain, and the rest of the West is becoming a really bad place to live in. There really isn't much freedom here. Not what they say. You really can't walk out the street and say you support Putin in his actions. You'd rather get beaten up or you get put in prison. And living in the West is not what it's cracked up to be, with the high inflation rates anyway, high cost of living. What is the point? What is the point in living in the West anymore? We're living in UK. The government's a total shambolic. You have Liz Truss, who doesn't know what the hell is going on. She could be the next prime minister. And it's an absolute shambles, Alex. And this is one of the reasons I had to open my own YouTube channels and just talk freely, because I'm just sick of it, really. I'm just sick of everything that's happening around me and everything that's happening to people who actually speak the truth. And it's just not right. And people are being brainwashed to a big extent as well. I made a video about this. We have access to the internet. We have access to so much knowledge around the world. We should be the most cleverest people. This generation should be the most cleverest generation in the world. But people are getting dumber. I walk down the streets, people are talking about Love Island, people are talking about Kim Kardashian, people are talking about reality shows, people are talking about social media. Nobody's talking about important matters that matter in the world. And people have stopped reading books. People have stopped educating themselves. You have the internet, which gives you access to all the information in the world. You can, but people refuse to educate themselves. People are more interested in looking at social media stuff, looking at brainless reality TV shows, and it's a shame how this new generation is coming up. They're pretty much all brainwashed, and the population has just kept dumb. I don't know if this is done on purpose by the government to keep people dumb so they don't rise up, they don't protest. And it's a good way. You keep people dumb, you keep people drugged up. And this is why, I've noticed over the past few years, they're relaxing a lot of drug rules. It's much more easier to get drugs in the streets now than it was like 20, 30 years ago. And they're keeping people drugged up. They're keeping people dumb. They're pushing lots of reality shows on people, social media. And, if you go to mainstream British papers, for example, the front page news is something about completely something that is not even related to anything geopolitics or interesting. It's about maybe a reality TV star, Love Island. Oh, this is the winner for the Love Island. Oh, congratulations. And then the second page or third page, nothing. And the fourth page, oh, by the way, Russia this. And the fifth page, only a small little piece of paper talking about China. And that's it, really. I'm just really scared of the new generation that's coming up. People are being kept dumb by the government, and people are easily brainwashed out there. And I really fear for the future generation, to be honest, Alex.
Well, thank you for that, AJ. And I have to say to the panel here, these other two gentlemen on the panel have lived in China for a long time. I came to China because I wanted to make a difference. I didn't come here for vacation. I came here because I was tired of reading information, so-called truthful information, by many media outlets. And there are people in the comments here that are saying, well, saying one is bad doesn't make the other good. I agree with that. But here's how my life changed living in China. compared to a lot of other different places I used to live in. For example, my wife can finally wear her wonderful wedding ring and not worry about getting robbed.
Wow.
I purchased it for her many years ago, and she brought it to China with her. And I said, wow, you wear your ring all the time. She says, yeah, because we're in the safe place, right? Wow. Okay. She ventures into this city of 32 million people using public transit. No problem. Wants to go in for a day of shopping? No problem. Things do happen here from time to time. Rarely. But I'm not running home, turning on the television to see if my child's school has been shot up, or if my local neighbor has had an overdose, or if my friends' kids are on massive prescription drugs like 1/3 of university students are in the United States of America. No. I'm having a good time in my life right now because I'm exactly where I want to be. And why am I here? Because I travel to over 107 countries in this world. And China brings me here, not me. It's the quality of life, whether you like to admit it or not. People say, oh, but the medical. Alex, the medical. I just walked into a tens of $million brand new hospital that opened up here in May. Brand new. Waiting for patients. I said, where are the patients? Well, they'll come. But they built it in advance. Can you name a country that's built a hospital in advance, waiting for patients? I can. No problem. There's lots of them in Chongqing here. But then see, oh, but I see an empty metro line, Alex. I saw it on CNN. They built a metro to nowhere. Really, did they? You mean the one that's sitting outside that door right now in Yubei that serves 3.7 million people in this district?
Yeah.
That one?
Yeah. Check in 2 years later.
But there's ghost cities. They're not ghost cities, guys. They're pre-built. And they're ready because there's 16 million Chinese babies born every year. And people continue to try to give it a shot after a shot after a shot. I admire your perseverance. But I understand why you're angry. I'd be angry too. And I was angry. Why was I angry? I was angry at a 40% tax bracket in Canada. Then you get home in that car that you paid for, it gets broken into and your insurance policies go through the roof. And then when you're in your house and you want to go out Friday night, you come home, it's cleaned out, not once, not twice, but 3 times in a year. You think maybe I'm in a bad area. No, sir, you're in one of the greatest areas in the city. Unfortunately, we have a drug problem and people need to support themselves by breaking into people's homes and cars. Okay. And while we're at it, our governments have legalized it. Okay. Not okay. Why am I in China? That's why I'm in China. Who's next, guys?
You bet.
Well, I wanted to elaborate a little bit, just one sentence. Imagine trying to be a content creator with a nice camera like the one I have right in front of me in a country like Colombia, where they will kill you for your shoes, where the abuses of the political class and the elites are so grave that the population just has no other option than to revolt and to go to crime and to go to all these sorts of illegal activities because the government has abandoned them. So, yeah, a very short statement. Mario just left, so let me elaborate a little bit more on why I came to China. I came to China because I was running away from crime. I was afraid of living in my own country. And I made a video that was very, very popular called The Freedom That Americans Don't Enjoy. And I call that the freedom from fear. We're not afraid of getting shot by the police. We're not afraid of getting mugged, I'm not afraid of living my life in China. And unless you have lived that life of fear, you do not really understand how it feels to live in a place where you don't need to worry, when you can actually feel free from fear, where oh, I forgot to lock my car. It's happened to me all the time. Oh, I forgot my phone in the restaurant. Oh, that freedom from fear is one of the most important aspects of me having decided long ago that China was going to be my home. I'm 22 years in the country. But there's something shifting to something else. Talking about geopolitics and the American political world, we just heard that Trump's house in Mar-a-Lago had been is being investigated, and then the FBI went in and opened the safe and looked at what was in there. The division in America.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
It's at levels that you cannot comprehend.
That's right.
Because
That's right.
The Republicans are saying you cannot do that to an ex-president. But look, in February they found 15 boxes that he took out from the White House. That is a crime. But you are just the deep state, and is this Biden, and then the infighting, Roe versus Wade, yes or no, the amount of aspects that divide the fabric of America just keeps growing and growing and growing. Some people would say, is that a distraction? Is that something to keep people busy and to channel their energy towards something, and they don't realize what we're doing behind closed doors? That's a possibility. But what I'm telling you is they're destroying faith in government. What they're doing is they're mixing a bowl with all the ingredients for anarchy. That's what they. What else can you call a country, well, California, where you can walk in, grab some products, put them in your bag, and walk out? And if it's under $1,000, the police are not going to chase you. Somebody please explain to me what rotten society is that? And that's what's happening in California and in many places around the country. How can you run a business calculating, how much am I going to lose due to getting robbed every month? Can I continue to operate under this? And how do these freaking rules pass? How do they have these discussions in governments? They're like, okay, yeah, it's a rule. How does that come to be? I don't understand. The decay. When I talk in my videos about the decay of American society, it gives me absolutely no pleasure. It gives me absolutely no satisfaction. It gives me, when the future for so many young ladies is to go on OnlyFans, is to go on TikTok and to make it's all about making money. When the values of family, of society have disappeared, replaced by this uncontrolled capitalism, what else have you got? Nothing. So I'm just counting the days until America hits rock bottom. Not because I want to, but because it will be the beginning of a new America. An America that I used to love when I was a kid. I was infatuated with America. And
I hear you.
It hurts me to see going through what it is going through. So we've started talking about politics in America, so I'll hand it back to you guys.
Well, I got to add a little bit to that. And I understand what you're saying about America. I mean, man, oh man, as a Canadian, that was my dream, I tell you. I even went down to the United States when I was 7 years old, and I was the proudest guy when I came back to Canada in school. I said, I've been to America. I've been there. It's the greatest country on earth.
Yep.
This is frustrating because this is not just America. And, I'm going to answer John's question here. Why is it always China versus USA? Well, it sells papers. Media likes it, even if it's true or not. I mean, yeah. Seems still a lot of Chinese people move to the U.S. and U.S. to China. Yeah, they do. People move all around the world. Yeah. But yes, there are other issues going on in this world. And that's why you're seeing governments being replaced every month.
Yep.
Colombia just replaced theirs.
Yes, August 7th, they swore in the first leftist or left-leaning president, and I'm preparing a very interesting video with very interesting people to talk about what that means for Colombia, what that means for Latin America, and for the United States, because they're losing their grip in their backyard.
The UK replacing their prime minister, Mario Draghi, out the door. Australia's done, dusted. Bulgaria is gone. Lithuania is going to be on that list as well. So, yeah. And, somebody made a good point when we were talking here today about, the internet. This has been going on. This censorship has been going on for a long time. Now, I remember reading this book. I don't know if anybody ever remembers reading this book called by Ray Bradbury, Fahrenheit 451. Okay. Yep. It was a very intriguing book that I read when I was a child. And I was wondering, what are they talking about? Burning books and stuff like that. And, space and all this kind of stuff that was going on. And it soon realized when I got the internet. Now, I don't know how old our viewers are. Maybe you guys, if you're behind the keyboard there, maybe we could take a quick little survey here. You don't have to put your exact age. You can put, are you between 30 and 40, 40 and 50, 50 and 60, or let's just say 50 and above, okay? So I'm just going to give that a couple of seconds, and if you guys can just okay, so 53 we got in. Yeah, just put your age up there, guys. It doesn't have to be exact, and don't worry, you guys are behind the keyboards. Okay, 45. Okay, good. We're getting some. Okay, so a couple more would be great. Okay, good. So we got some 8. Now, I was sitting beside someone at work here the other day, and I said, Can you imagine coming home at the age of 26, like I was, or we got somebody 57, 40, 73 here.
73, Tinatong.
Can you imagine this? Coming home at the age of 26 and plugging in a computer with the old Windsock dial-up modem plugged into the wall, and your mom calling you later saying, why was the phone line busy? Because you only had one phone line to plug in the internet. And the first time you opened that internet and you were 26 years old, that's how old I was. So just think about how old you guys. Now we'll go to how old were you when you logged into the internet for the first time? For me, it was 26. 1996. And I opened up the internet and I thought, what is this? And I phoned the internet guy, the guy that gave you the time. I said, I just need another hour, man. And then I'm going to be done on the internet. Another hour goes by and I phone back and I said, oh, okay, I'll take the 7-day package. But after that, I'm definitely not going to be on. This is a fad. I'm not going to be on the internet anymore. I just need 7 days. And as I'm sitting on the internet there, I'm starting to realize things are not like I was taught in school. The gig is up. The cat is out of the bag. All hell is going to break loose because now communication is around the world. Now, how did that change my vision of the world? Well, I went to Eastern Europe, which I wanted to go to, and I married an Eastern European girl. I wound up in China. Pre-1996, I can tell you, wasn't very good information on good old China at the time. And I used to think, why? Why don't I know about all these countries? And now I'm logging into the internet and I'm figuring this out. I went back to Canada a few years back, and my sister works for the school board. And the good old Dewey Decimal System. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Dewey Decimal System. It's a decimal system to code library books. At least that's what the Canadians used when I was going to school. And I said to my sister, do me a favor. Since you are in charge of the curriculum to all the students, can you check when the first book came into circulation in the library in my small town, anything past East Germany came in indexed? She said, what a strange request, brother. What a strange request. She got back to me 2 weeks later. She says the first book that came into circulation was, remember, past East Germany, into the USSR, into Russia, all these nations, came into circulation, brought into the library in 1997. Wow. 1 year after you get plugged in the internet, they said, shit, they're going to know. Let's bring in the books. They won't notice. Nice try, guys. Nice try. It starts in the school systems. It ends up in Hollywood movies. It ends up at Disney. Welcome people. No more welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome people.
Oh, ridiculous.
And you imagine why us content creators go out there and risk our asses, like people like Mario here and Fernando, and especially AJ. I admire you, gentlemen, for doing what you guys are doing. We're a small team of content creators reaching out all walks of the world. Just to think about it, guys. We have someone in the eastern part of the Ukraine that can give us information we need. We have people in all parts of China. We have people in the United Kingdom. Other content creators all over the world will join with us to get this message out. And this is important because we, the most of us, even many names that were mentioned today, have been demonetized. And how can you support us is by sharing our videos, to subscribing to everybody's channel in the description. If you haven't done that now, scroll down below there. They're all there. Fermube, Mr. Ma Mario, PTE, and forgot to say I'm Alex from Reporterfy. But they're all there. That's how you can support us. Send it to all your friends, family, throughout the weekend. We put time and energy into all our videos. Lots of it. Anyway, let's round this off with what do you guys think is the last big banger for geopolitical issues here? Mary, you must have something cooking in Xinjiang there tonight.
The ultimate geopolitical issue. I love and fully support censorship, and so do you. And let me explain it if you don't understand that. Do you live in a civilized society or don't you? You think you don't support censorship? You think you don't want censorship? Okay. Censorship in China isn't the censorship to oppress and thought control people. It's the normal censorship to ensure that you as a citizen can be assured that you and your family, your household, can live in a safe, stable, harmonious society. And in order for you to be able to live in any country in a safe, stable, harmonious society, including the United States of America, where along the Pacific Coast Highway, you will be fined $100 if you cross the road, not in a crosswalk. And why would you be fined $100 in the United States if you cross the Pacific Coast Highway over to the beach, not at the crosswalk? Because you have endangered the society. Say, what? I just want to cross the road, man. Well, I know you just want to cross the road. You just want some convenience for yourself, you selfish fuck. I understand that. That's what we all want. Okay, but what you don't want to remember and understand is that your selfishness comes along and interferes with the lives of the other people in the community elsewhere. Because if you screw up because you happen to be a surf beach bum, kind of cool, hanging out, hey dude, let's go surfing, and you're smoking a joint and you're crossing the road and you're high out of your mind and you're not paying attention, you are going to ruin the life of the guy and the family who's behind the wheel of the car that hits you. So it's not about you, you idiot. It's about you being responsible to behave well in the society in which you live, which keeps other people out of harm's way. You'll destroy the life of the guy who hits you when you cross the road. Oh, oppressive society, because they give a ticket for jail. I just crossed the street and you give me a ticket for $100, man. Yes, it's called your responsibility in the community to live in a civil society, your responsibility, your civic duty to your fellow man. Now, I can go on and on and on about this, but I hope to God you get my point. In fact, I'm going to use the one last example, and that's in school, right? Your teenage kids. I'm sorry, you're not allowed to sit on the desk, Johnny. Well, I want to sit on the desk because I feel like it. You're a real douchebag, Mr. Jones. Okay? Well, Johnny, I appreciate your freedom of speech. I really, really do. But you're not allowed to sit on the desk. Is that how the teacher responds in the United States? No. The teacher sends your ass to the principal's office, and hopefully you get suspended, if not expelled, for calling the teacher a douchebag. You're not allowed to do that. That's called laws, rules, censorship. You have to censor yourself. You're not allowed to do those things. You're not allowed to say those things. You're not allowed to go stand out on the street and yell, there's a fire, if there's not a fire, right? That's the classic one. That's the classic one. You're not allowed to do that, okay? So here in China, they still have this stuff much more under control. Thank heavens they do, because it keeps society safe for and stable for all the households, not just for the individual selfish people who think, well, I want to go hang out on the street corner with all my tattoos and my spots in my face and and holding my gun and dealing those drugs and intimidating everybody, and grandma and the grandchild don't feel safe. You think that your individual freedom, I can stand out on the corner, you can't stop me, man. That's my right. No, it ain't your right to interfere with the rights of other people. That's the neoliberal cancer of the West. That's the reason China controls its social media. It's not to thought control and oppress its people. It's to keep you, Western neoliberal whack jobs, and your ideology out of China, to protect China, Chinese society, Chinese families, which are still the root of society. And that's why China's military is built up around Taiwan now, not to invade it, not to attack it, not to strangle it, to protect it from you freaking lunatics. Good night, everybody.
I have I have a take on Taiwan that's a little bit along the lines of what Meyer likes to paint. Taiwan leadership is like a drug addict. They need the fix. They need the money, the weapons, the cutting the deals, the making America happy so that there's more business, so that they buy more weapons, so that there's more commissions on this and that. It's like a drug addict. And China is a concerned parent that's looking at what's happening to his child and is thinking, how can I help? How can I help get my child out of this addiction? And then you decide that the next time that drug dealer, America, shows up at the door, you're going to do something about it. And you're going to tell him never come back. You're going to tell that drug dealer, you're going to leave my child alone. My child deserves a happy, peaceful life as part of the largest, safest, and most stable society in the world. I just told you a sentence, Mario, sorry. But Taiwan deserves that opportunity. When they reunify, when they reunite, there will be a massive, massive amount of benefit to Taiwan. Nobody talks about that. Nobody talks about the enormous positives of reuniting with the mainland. So you've got to do whatever you can to keep the drug dealer away from your child. Because that's what America is.
Yep.
America is the country that is addicting other countries to their defense contracts and defense contractors and to all their mechanisms to impose their hegemony, to impose their murderous regime all over the world. That's the picture I want to paint to you. We need to get this drug dealer out of the way.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm going to come to PTE in a minute there. Okay, AJ, get your ammo ready.
Yeah.
But I got something else I want to say before I forget it. Give me something else to believe in. Show me the way.
Something to believe in.
But seriously, be the beacon, a country that will take my eyes off of where I am right now.
Nope.
How are you going to do that? How are you going to better your society? How are you going to make people better? How are you going to make people more honest? How are you going to make people work harder? Can you organize 1.5 billion people? Keep them safe? Good luck. But something astonished me yesterday here in my lovely district of 3.7 million people in a city of 32 million plus. I was taken down to the local district called Jiangbei. It's another district of 925,000 people.
Jiangbei.
And I went. Get this, guys. I went into the city planning. Now, you would think it was a few people behind a piece of glass and maybe shuffling some paper around or getting ready for the next town hall meeting or where the mayor and all his councilors will decide what to do or who to pay. Oh, no. There were 90 brains in chairs looking at 100 monitors. And what were they doing? They were waiting for requests to come in from the local people that live, the 925,000 people that live in that district. Oh, there's garbage in my back lane. Can someone remove it? Oh, there's a lamp that is out on the corner of this and that. Oh, there's a brick broken in the sidewalk, which could hurt an old lady. Oh, there's a bunch of cardboard boxes up.
Taking care of society.
They pay for tips. If you find something that could harm or hurt traffic flow, or maybe something that just shouldn't be there, or a sign that's blown into the streets, or possible flood controls, they give you a bonus. Now, it might only be a case of water, or I don't know, pack of cigarettes, whatever it is. But imagine being in control of your own city. It's like a sim city at the palm of your hands. And I saw that yesterday, and I said, how is that possible? Where do all these messages go? And they say they go to the 90 staff behind us. I said, but when did they get them done? Oh, but Alex, there's 30 other inspectors in the area that make sure this work gets done in under 5 days per complaint. Wow. Yeah. And they got a 99.6 success level. Anything over that might be bigger. It might be something that has happened in that district or whatever. But wow. Smart city, you better believe it. Now, they have cameras there. Oh, yeah. People, oh, yeah, man. Oh, man. You know, people in my country of Canada, but there's big brother watching you. Give me a break. These people are there, and I couldn't even find a piece of garbage on the sidewalk. It's real, guys. I'm not kidding you. It's real. I was there. In fact, I'm going to show you a picture. I don't know, you know, Fernando, you might know how I'm going to be able to show this picture better with this lens, but because this lens will probably blur it out. But let me just see if I can actually pull this photo up.
Send it to me or what?
Yeah, let me send this to you. This is extraordinary, guys. I'm just looking at this now on my phone here. I'm going to send it to Mario or to Fernando.
Send it to me.
Okay. Let me just send this to you, Fernando. I was speechless when I walked in there. I said, this isn't possible. This is a video game. They're like, no, it's not a video game. I said, this is from another level. And wow, hearing it. Okay, Reporterfy's latest is okay. So, as I was saying, if you could show the camera that, maybe if it's possible, or
yeah.
This is extraordinary, guys. Okay, look at this. If you can see it, I don't know. It's a bit blurry.
It's a bit dark. No, it's a bit dark. I just need to make it bright.
Let me send it to you as well, Mario, okay?
Yeah. What are we doing here?
We're going to show you this photo. It's we can't seem to get it focused on Fernando's yet, but I have to show you this, guys, because this really says it all. Mario, check your phone if you can. I'm sending you a photo that you can show on the screen to our viewers. Thanks. Sorry, your camera's blurring out there. But show this to the screen, okay?
Whoa.
Fernando, your screen's a bit blurry. Your camera, sorry.
Yeah. Hold on one second. That's the photo. I'm sharing it to you guys.
How can I do that? Add stream. Do I add stream or something? Or
yeah. Put it to the stream. Put it to the stream, and it'll be.
There it is.
Oh yeah.
Wow. Okay, guys, we got it. We got it, Mario. Now look at this, guys. Take this in, okay? On the bottom part of this, let's say the bottom right, you see 6 tabs. Those are all the locals that have sent in pictures of broken sidewalk or something. Maybe the garbage is overflowed or whatever. That is entire district in Chongqing in real time. Okay? In real time. It says, yeah, we got it there. It's already on the big screen, Mario. Thank you anyway. Yeah, thank you. But that is connected everywhere. The temperature, unfortunately, we can't really zoom in too much more on that photo. But
I can. Let me see.
Can you? Okay. So yeah, that basically is everything. Smart management, traffic flow, the flood control, the sewage control. It shows right now that 83 out of the 220 is fully monitored in that area. It's just extraordinary. And these guys have a 99.6% success rate on everything. Getting these done within, they do. Within 5 days, they get...
The purpose of all this monitoring and tracking, Alex, is to control the people and oppress them. You're lying.
So, Nick, you're asking, where is this? This is Jiangbei. This is part of Chongqing, the city of 32 million. They have got this down to an art. That's real-time traffic control there, monitors, finding out what happens. What if an ambulance needs to get to the hospital? Guess what? These guys know how to get it there the fastest, and they can make the lights red if they want to.
Yeah, it's amazing. How many districts?
It also helps. What's that?
How many districts total in Chongqing?
I believe it's 29 in total.
Oh my gosh, there's that many. Yeah. So the main core districts downtown, like, you know.
Well, that's all debatable. I mean, that's a millions of people. I mean, it's just, what can I say? Anyway, guys, I wanted to show you that. And I want to end off this show with AJ. You've been so patient tonight, AJ, because we've got so much to say. But the floor is open to you. Once you're done, you can hand it back. Each guy gets 1 minute, and then we'll round up the show. But AJ, take it away. I know you've been very patient. We greatly appreciate that.
No, I've been listening to you guys. It's an absolute pleasure hearing from you guys. So yeah, it's been great. A couple of things we haven't really touched upon. I wanted to talk a bit further. Is about the sanctions that China's placed on the US. And there is a big list, but two in particular which stand out. One is about climate change, and the other one is about stopping working with the Americans when it comes to drug usage and things like that. So I want to start with the drug issue. And one of the major problems the United States is having right now is a problem with fentanyl. And 100,000 people died by fentanyl this year, and that's growing by about 20,000 per month, I believe, and I think right now it's gone even higher. So, you know, there's a big problem with fentanyl, and obviously there's fentanyl labs all over United States and South America. However, the raw materials required to make fentanyl, most of it comes from China because it's cheap. So that's what they've been trying to crack down on, and that's why they need a lot of help from the Chinese to kind of stop all of these raw materials going over to the States, and they need Chinese help for that. Without the help from the Chinese, this fentanyl problem is just going to go way higher. So they need Chinese help, and because of their actions, the Chinese have now said, you know what, we're not going to help you when it comes to fentanyl and other drug-related issues. You're on your own. So the second thing I want to also talk about is climate change. And yesterday, I believe Congress approved a $500 billion bill for climate change. However, they cannot do much without the Chinese help again. I mean, most of the materials required for wind turbines, you need rare earth minerals for wind turbines. And China controls 80 or 90% of them. So you cannot make wind turbines without the help of the Chinese. And secondly, most of the solar panels that are made around the world, they are made in Xinjiang. And so these materials which make solar panels, you cannot make solar panels cheap in the rest of the world without Chinese help. As you know, China has got the biggest amount of solar panels in the world, biggest amount of wind turbines in the world, hydropower. There's all these nuclear plants coming up. So you cannot have cheap climate change. You cannot do climate change without the help from the Chinese. And it's a really basically own goal, really. And I just have to ask this to the American leadership and Pelosi herself. Was it all worth it? Was this trip worth it to lose Chinese help in climate change, to lose Chinese help in all of these fentanyl issues? And this is just the beginning. That's the beginning. China's also placed sanctions on Pelosi's family. They've also said they're not going to help with other matters as well when it comes to military and many other matters. There is a big list of them. And this is just a start. Well, China has got a lot more tools in its toolbox. And you see Russia. If Russia wanted to completely starve Europe, they could. They could easily block the gas tomorrow, and the whole of Europe will just crash. But they haven't done that, and China are also taking minor steps on this. But I just have to ask: was all of these stuff worth it? I mean, what has Pelosi actually achieved in going to Taiwan? Nothing.
I think we might have lost AG there.
And Blinken came up on an interview yesterday, and he mentioned climate change. He mentioned all of these other issues. And if Blinken is mentioning it, it usually means that the Americans are hurting. This is hurting the Americans. Otherwise, Blinken would not mention it at all. And it's just ridiculous own goal. And you've seen America, the Europeans, and the West just doing own goals after own goals after own goals with these ridiculous sanctions on Russia. Now they're doing all of these antagonistic actions on China. And what are they actually gaining? Nothing. They are losing a lot more than they are gaining. America is the one with the drug problem. America is the one with the fentanyl problem, not China. So they need Chinese help. America needs China to go on its green agenda, not the other way around, because China has got an amazing green infrastructure, the best in the world. So they do not need America for green technology. America needs China for green technology. And it's actually beggars belief. And I'm totally shocked by how idiotic some of these Western leaders are. I'm just shocked by this generation of Western leaders, completely shocked. I'm not just talking about the American leaders, but European leaders as well, British leaders. I mean, I came back from vacation yesterday. I came back and I came to my hometown, and there's rubbish everywhere. There's people are losing jobs. People can't afford to pay for the bills. People are being made homeless. It's an absolute mess. People are fighting in the streets. I walk into a shop and people are grabbing stuff from the shelves and walking out without paying. It's just going to get worse and worse. And I just think, a couple of years, 3-4 years ago, I didn't see this, but now I'm seeing it almost every single day. And I'm just shocked by how idiotic this has all become. And this is the fault of the leaders, the Western leaders, not having a brain, not having anyone who can think clearly about geopolitics or what the cause and effect of money printing and all of these other issues. All you have is yes men around the leadership. Let's bash China. Yes, sir. Let's bash Russia. Yes, sir. There's nobody actually stands up and said, hang on a second. If you do this, this is the consequence. Are you ready to live with that? Oh, this guy's a China lover. Kick him out. Yeah, kick him out. That's how it works in the Western world. And I'm just completely sick of it, to be honest, guys. Completely sick of it. And I'll tell you what, I'm just... I think, Alex, you were lucky to move to China, start a new life and stuff. I'm seriously thinking of leaving UK myself. And so...
We understand, AJ. We understand. All the other two gentlemen that are on this panel, we understand. We completely understand. I understand you're getting sick of this, and people are telling you, "Oh, you stand up for China." I'm surprised. I only got one serious death threat on my last video. That's kind of a record. Normally I get about 3 or 4. This one mentioned my wife this time. I said, "Honey," no. This one said he knows us when our paths cross. But it comes with the territory. When people do that, it motivates you to just come out and make more videos, and more and more and more.
I want to ask Alex if I can take a minute to show the photo that's here. That's a little bit related to what you were saying, but it's going to take me to somewhere else. So, Alex, you were talking about this big cloud. I think it's already there. You just need to share it. This big cloud business. Now, what you are going to see in this photo is a project in a very small town of Guizhou. I think less than 1 million people. But a lot of the population is rural. A lot of the population actually lives in the mountains of Guizhou. It is said that Guizhou is a province where you don't have one flat kilometer of road, because everything is mountains. So it's very difficult to offer medical service, particularly to the elderly. So I don't know if my internet is slow, but I can't see the photo. Did you put it up?
You want to send it to me? Where to? Okay, hang on.
No, it's already there.
There we go.
Oh, this is what I've been talking about. So
it's
guys,
loading.
this
There you go.
is a command center where they track the medical needs of all the population in these mountainous areas. It's a 90 kilometers radius. So when an 80-year-old man who lives in the mountains cannot go to the hospital, then they have doctors go to their homes with a telemedicine equipment. They give him all the medicines that he needs. They do all the tests that they need. And if they need to talk to a specialist, they use this teleconference system. And they register everything that they do on the mobile phone. Goes into this database that is also a national database. So every single aspect of the information on patients is controlled from this center. With this, they can inventory medicines, they can schedule, they know what, they have a very big picture of what is the health condition of the people in this little village. As I said, less than 1 million people, but in a very, very wide space. Now, what you can see there, and this is my final thought, you can see a cameraman. This cameraman is shooting me because I am hosting an episode for a documentary. This is the one that we shot, Mario. We have got to talk about China's biggest problem. China's biggest problem is soft power, its image, its marketing. Why? Because when I show you the fantastic and phenomenal technology that China is implementing in its rural areas, and you go like, oh my freaking God, we don't even have this in LA, you're going to say, oh, but you're paid. You're paid to say so. You're paid to say these things. That's the issue that China has. How to combat this accusation of people who are showing you great things about China, but we, the content creators, we're taking time from our lives to do these jobs. I do different kinds of jobs. I do jobs where I go and they only pay me for my expenses. There are jobs where I am paid to do a job. So in this particular case, I was paid to host these 2 episodes that were showcased on CCTV. And the other ones is where I go by myself and shoot stuff by myself. Nobody pays me other than AdSense and you guys watching my videos. So those are the 3 kinds of videos that I make, or the money that I get from the content that I put out, showing you things about China. But I was having this discussion on another project that I'm doing with Xinhua News. How, even if I tell you that this project with Xinhua News was about mayors in China, a phenomenal thing that's coming up in a couple of months. And one of the points that I made is, how can China let people know that my opinion of what we are seeing here in this beautiful city in the border with North Korea, I'm not paid. They did not pay me to say what I was saying or to see what I was seeing. They did not pay the scholar from England who was next to me. But even if we say that on camera, there's going to be a schmuck saying, you're paid to say good things about China. That is my last thought. And I don't know the answer to this. I don't know how to get out of this problem of marketing China. I don't call it propaganda. I call it marketing China and what it does and showing it to the world without being accused of getting paid. That truly, truly offends me. I understand there are things for what I get paid for, as if I'm an actor or I'm a host. That's fine. But that's one part of what I do. Most of what I do is just basically not paid.
You know, I'm going to step in on this one because this one's nice and juicy. John, love your comments. They're great. No, we didn't pay John, everyone, to leave these comments so that we could respond this way. John, I think I made it very clear why most of this panel does make content. If I wanted to get paid to making this content, that would mean that I would take one hell of a cut in earnings. I don't make my money from YouTube. No one pays me to make videos on YouTube because no one can afford to make me make videos on YouTube. Why? My wife and I put in over 50 hours of production time on all my videos on my channel. I put one video a week. You might think, might take them a couple hours. Nice try. It takes about 50 hours with research, getting the clips, and there is an investment, a financial investment in every video. Pretty much everybody that makes on content on YouTube. Camera equipment, travel time, goodwill time. So what I say to those people that say, oh yeah, you're paid, you're doing this, my response is, nice slander, guys. Nice libel. Nice defamation. If you want to put your name behind it and you want to accuse me of ever being paid to make content, then get ready to put your money where your mouth is, because you're looking at somebody that has taken someone to court and beat them, not on a YouTube video, but when the credibility and the integrity of a person is put on the line, they will do anything to defend it. And I will support and help anyone that's on this panel that either gets defamed, slandered, or libeled. Why? Because it's an integrity thing. I think I've been very clear why we do this, why we are on these channels. We're here to send a message, to share a message. Hey, I could be at home right now trading derivatives. What am I doing? I'm sitting here talking to you guys to try to share you our experiences. This is not fame. This is not money. This is passion. And that is why many other content creators, just like Daniel Dumbrill, people said they haven't heard Daniel in a while. Well, I just did an interview with him 3 days ago with Professor Weiwei. It was amazing to sit down and have a nice interview with him. But people like AJ that are on this panel tonight, he's not doing it for fame and money. And you know what? By the time we get into second gear on YouTube, they've deplatformed us, or they've demonetized us, or they've taken our PayPal away, or if you're Graham Phillips, they've sanctioned you. So do we do it for fame or money? Nice try. Nice try. No, we don't do it for fame or money. Have you ever had that thing when you were born and you really like doing it, whether it's playing basketball or playing hockey when you're 6 years old, you played hockey outside until your feet froze in the snow, and you came home and you cried for hours while your feet thawed out because they were freezing bloody cold because you loved the game so much? That's why we do it, because we love it. And we love sharing what we see because nobody else is doing it. Does it take YouTube content creators in China to tell you what's going on in this 1.5 billion country? Outside that door, there is China. Right behind Mario is China. God. It's frustrating. But that's why we do this. No, we don't do it for the death threats. Sorry, we don't. No, we don't do it for the bashing. No, we don't. Man, oh man. And yeah, John, his last quote I'm going to put here, does China need a better image? It needs to promote itself better, I think. They can start with that. Pretty lousy at the news. but don't underestimate. No.
It's getting better.
Don't ever underestimate the will of these people. Some of these cities that you see now that are mind-blowing were fishing villages 30 years ago. Hell, outside this door, this isn't even a tier 1 city, and it will blow the top off of any bloody city you guys have been. Trust me, it will. And no one's ever heard of it. But anyway, we're going to go around 1 minute each. We're going to start with Mario, then to AJ, then to Fernando, and we're going to wrap it up. Fire away, Mario.
All right. First of all, I do this simply because I want to do my part to educate the world about what's really going on. I want you to know the truth, not the lies and the propaganda. And in doing so, for me, YouTube is just one small slice, and so is Twitter. You know, go to Amazon, please buy my 3 books on China. You know, well, because I say that to you because I want to make money. No, actually, I say that to you because I want you to know China. And if you read my 3 books on China, then you'll know China, and then we can have a conversation. Okay, so that's my reason. And it's not just that; it's in terms of legacy. I'm getting older. And I realized that all my articles, all my videos, all the stories, all the Chinese media have done the story of my life here in China. The last one that just came out was really, really good with Liaoning Daily Newspaper. I was really happy with that, promoting Liaoning and Shenyang and my life up here in Shenyang. All that's great to bring knowledge of life and society and culture to the world. That's why I do it. And all of that, thanks to the digital world, will be an archive, which I have a 10-year-old son. And in the future, when he's older and can appreciate, he'll be able to watch whatever he wants that I've done. And I'll be very happy to know that he's watching it, you know? So that's why I do it. And beyond that, the second thing I wanted to say as my closing was, again, to remind everyone, right now, the hottest propaganda is about Taiwan. You're being told China's surrounding Taiwan to attack it, to strangle it. It's a bunch of nonsense. You have to understand that there is peace and enormous fruitful relationships and friendship and economy for decades between China and Taiwan. The conflict is not between China and Taiwan. There are deep, wonderful relationships between China and Taiwan. And Chinese people and Taiwanese people know that. 42% of Taiwan's trade is with China. Okay, so they don't have a problem. China is not now beefed up. China has beefed up its military around Taiwan. I regard that as permanent. I regard it as we are now in a new Taiwan paradigm. I believe it is permanent, and that it's never going to go back to anything like it was before, which means China has effectively taken control of the Taiwan situation. And that's a very good thing. The U.S. has been brought to heel. And that's a very good thing, too, because, boy, do they need to be brought to heel. If they do anything further, China will just further clamp down, I think ultimately, like they did with Hong Kong, and then just take control of it as they need to. All of this is happening, including the military. Understand the military is defensive. It is not aggressive. They've never attacked anyone in half a century. Give me a break. Their military exists defensively, and they're building up their defense because they are protecting Taiwan and protecting China's sovereignty against any further U.S. provocations, which includes the DPP separatists who are colluding with the U.S. Provocations. That's it. That is, to a degree, my opinion, rather than evidently certain facts. And I acknowledge that. That is, to some degree, opinion, but that's how I see it. That is what's happening. Good night, everybody.
AJ.
Well, I certainly don't do it for the fame because my face is not even on the video. I think you've seen my wife, Alex, and she's quite famous on Instagram. She's got about 750k followers, and she does it for the fame, and it's fine. You know, if you got the looks, then you can do it. But I'm simply here to use my voice and educate people. I certainly do it for the passion. sometimes you need a platform where you can just speak out, and if other people agree with your views, then great. If they don't, then it's fine. But if you can kind of make people understand, then it's even better. And I use this as a platform to kind of speak about my voice. I'm not really, I'm not here for fame nor money. I mean, I've got a full-time job. YouTube, people really think that YouTubers make thousands and thousands. You don't, unless you got millions of followers, or even if you get millions of subscribers, then you probably will. But if you're in the mid-20s, 40s, 50s, it really isn't much to pay the bills, to be honest. You need another reason to do it, and that has to be passion. You must love talking about geopolitics. You must love talking about certain subjects, and that needs to drive you. And it's the same with all YouTubers. I mean, I remember when Star Wars was a thing, and there was a lot of YouTubers who came on because they watched the latest Star Wars, Disney Star Wars, I think Last Jedi, and people were completely sickened by it. So a lot of YouTubers started their own channels to talk about how disgusted they are with the latest Star Wars films. And most of these YouTubers now have got really, really big followers because they started off as a platform talking about what certain subjects, and now people are they are really major YouTubers. You got to have a passion to talk about certain subject and just carry it on, and that's what we're doing. We're all here to talk about these stuff for you guys. We're not here to do it for myself. If I was selfish, I could just enjoy my time with my missus. I have a great missus. I can spend more time with her. I can just work on my job and just have a relaxing life and not worry about anything. But that's not what I'm doing. I'm taking time off, making these videos for you guys, trying to educate people. I do it because I have a passion for it, and money is not a thing really. I have a full-time job, so that kind of pays the bills. I'm not really worried about YouTube money, to be honest. But yeah, that's my thing. I just wanted to share that with you guys.
Fernando.
Cool. Well, guys, all I wanted to do to finish this talk is, well, to remind you that what I do is out of a sense of duty. This is a country that has given me a career, has given me a sense of life. I came here running away from my country, and I found a place where I could prosper. So if anybody is looking at a pursuit of happiness, this is the place where you can find it. So that's why I feel this sense of duty to show people the real China. It's not perfect, it's got issues, but it's not what they are painting to you. So I would like to remind you guys that I have my political channel, which is Fermube, and this other channel that is on the screen is Are We There Yet? That's my travel channel. It's a channel that is very, very small, where I make very beautiful videos for you, but they take a lot of time to make. One video takes 3, 4, 5 days to make, but it's the beauty of China that I want to show to you. So if you could all give me a bump and go check out that channel, I would really appreciate it. My only intention is to show you the China that I see, the China that I see through my lens. I appreciate you all very much, and well, remember, as always, like, share, and subscribe.
Well, thank you, Fernando, for that. Everyone, if you haven't done yet, check the links below. You can subscribe to all the channels. We had well over around 600 on combined channels here today. I'm Alex from Reporterfy. You haven't seen my channel connected. There's a reason for it. I think you guys are very well aware why. And another note that I want to say is my channel will be coming back to do live streams in a few weeks. We'll be bringing back one of our big shows, the Let's Talk China show. That will be coming back, and there'll be some popular faces on that, and we will be doing lots of rotations of guests on that show as usual. So we will really rip it up on the channel when that gets going. But wanted to say again, thank you everyone that has joined this program today. And if you have that other content creator out there, leave a message on not just our videos, not just AJ's and Fernando's, but if you have that content creator, the whether it's the Duran or whether it's the Graham Phillips, Patrick Lancasters, take that time to leave them a comment and say, you know what, we really appreciate you guys putting your bacon on the line for this, because it does mean a lot to us as content creators when we get those messages of encouragements, and even some people that do support our content. That is great. Good to see the lily pad. Yes, it's coming back, and it's coming back big time. Okay. There's going to be a big change to it. But anyway, I wanted to say thank you for all the people that joined today's show here, for all of you amazing people that have watched on all these multi-channels, whether it was from Mr. Ma's China Adventure to PTE Geopolitics to Fermube to Tiger Paw to PTE Wolf Warrior page, you name it, whatever. Thank you guys for joining with us, and we will probably see you next week, maybe Tuesday or Wednesday, of course. And from all of us here in China and the United Kingdom, or wherever you are from the world right now, you guys have a great evening.
Take care.
Take care. Good night.
Bye.
Cheers, guys.